Hi, Uri. How are you?
Hello, thank you, Sergey. I'm fine. What about you?
Great, thank you. Uh, Today we have Dr. Juraj Hanus with us. He's an expert on dealer management systems, DMS systems, which are the key to the effective operations of the car dealerships. So, Uri was graciously agreed to do an exclusive interview for the Association of Russian Automobile Dealers and share his experience. He is working with one of the largest providers of DMS systems with the Russian automotive community. So we appreciate it and we thank you very much for your time and effort. Today's interview is going to be a little bit different than the usual interviews that we do because of its technical nature. We have sent the questions that we feel are going to be important and interesting for our audience to Uri in advance, and he has prepared the presentation to better explain the answers. So we will be asking the questions, and Uri is going to open up the presentation and going to go over the answers to the questions. We're going to use the English version for the interview, and for the Russian edited version of the interview, we will use the mirror translation so our Russian-speaking audience can better relate to it. So let's start. In Russia, the situation with DMS systems is really different than, say, in the United States or Europe. Most dealerships in Russia create their own DMS systems using either starting from scratch or customizing some existing ERP system. And they also keep their own, most of them keep their own internal department of programmers to support it. And we would like to ask you, Uri, what benefits do you see in a dealership turnkey solution from the major provider, or maybe the way to do it in-house is the best approach?
Thank you for your question. So in case we look on DMS system and turnkey DMS system, we should understand those players. If they operate internationally, or if they operate only locally, or if they operate globally. So we have a couple of players who operate global, and those are those big players. They provide solid core functionality. I mean with that service management, inventory management, vehicle management, and all those pieces which are really needed for daily operation in a dealership. Proven platform, we have three big players, SAP, Microsoft, Oracle. And in case you have such player next to you, I think it also provides very solid benefit, especially this proven platform is already tested, it's used, and you should not have any kind of issues with stabilization and with scalability. It means in case you need more power in your DMS, especially resources-wise, then such system can easily adapt. Workflow-driven functionalities means those workflows which are built in as DMS must follow some tasks which are needed. I mean with that, especially the user must find such workflows intuitive, and there is no any kind of needed what is the next step, because the system should show the way or show the path of where the user has to go. In case he perform, for instance, ordering of parts, or he has to register reception, etc. What is important in case you look on turnkey DMS systems are the used frameworks, and they try to standardize, and all these will enable automation. Automation is important, especially in case we want to reduce the administration load. So the users start to be more admin person, or the person who just observe what is going on in DMS and adjust the information which DMS provide to him. And he or she has to then make choice which direction to do. For instance, if we have to approve some pricing from the customer, etc. All this is somehow connected because those automation are in place. About the frameworks, I just want to very briefly mention, because this is very crucial. Actually, it's not a problem to build more and more functionalities DMS. The point is really to build less functionality which you can connect together. And using the frameworks, you may reuse the existing parts for something else. And this is really something what makes a big difference, especially also in scale of turnkey DMS systems. Ability to connect the dots means not everything must be in DMS. I mean, this is something what worked in the past, but right now more focus on the trend is to ability to connect. It means integration capabilities, so standard APIs, etc. It means that how easy you may connect to other applications, and even with a third party. In some markets, Sergey, you will not imagine that even DMS competitors cooperate together. Continually development and maintain is thanks this proven platform, and turnkey DMS systems are provided by companies who already are in the market. They have some position and history, so they know how to continue to develop and maintain such environment. So I would say that those are those most 5 benefits in case you look on the difference between the homemade DMS system or turnkey DMS system.
That's a great answer. I want to add to it that in Russia, you mentioned the integration of ad hoc or third-party applications. We understand the importance of those. And because of the garden variety of different DMS systems in Russia, the API, a lot of them have very immature API, which complicates integrations. And there's actually companies that provide sort of intermediaries between the data load, even such simple tasks as the inventory load to the online marketing side. There are companies that provide the services instead of just being seamlessly integrated with the marketplace. So it's a great point. My next question is sort of an extension of the first one. Because we all understand that DMS systems are vital to the operations of the dealerships, and hardware failures can actually lead to the interruption of functioning of the entire department or the entire dealership. In Russia, a lot of dealerships, because of the homegrown applications, DMS systems, they have the entire department of software programmers and hardware maintenance people, and that support it. How do professional providers address these issues from the outside? What are the advantages of having the internal programming department or external support?
I see here 2 questions, so which I want to answer. The first one is this programmer department in a dealership. Frankly speaking, I was a part of such programmer department in the past, and I could better understand the feeling of the dealers when they want to speed up and when they want to enable some functionalities. So there are very clear advantages and disadvantages. I would like to now focus on the advantages to have such programmer department, because not everything is black and white. And to have the own programmer department is you will get a speed. You will get speed because you are in direct connection with the users. So the user just asks questions and there is someone who can answer. So the communication is a direct communication. They speak with the same language, I would say. And this interaction is completely in different level when you are supported by support center with tickets, etc. What is another important point? They are very customer driven, such department. It means what customer needs, this is right, and this has to be done. There is no such discussion like what about next release or what about next version. In that moment, this is important topic, and if you have to perform. This causes the issue that those teams are very close together and they are fully focused on the customer, and they don't see what is going on on the market, for instance. So there is less innovation. Everything what customers said is true. So there is no any kind of trends across the country. So they cannot see those trends because they are fully focused on dealing with customer issues. Building such DMS system, as you said, homemade system, there is no much concept behind, because they have to add something else. They have to adjust something. So it start to be monolith structure. And monolith structure, I mean, this system start to be, I would say, fragile. It means it start to be shaking in case you are adding more functionality, because some functionality could be in conflict. And in case you don't have vision, like what you would like to achieve with your DMS system, and especially those frameworks, etc., you might easily end up that adding new functionality will cause, I would say, allergic reaction in another part of the system. And you have to be very careful. And last and not least is also the cost of maintenance. To keep the programmer department, I mean, those are experts, those are programmers, those are project managers, and those people cost money as well. So you have to really be careful, like how much you want to invest to DMS and how long you can do it, especially in case our, I would say, digital revolution, everything changed immediately. So you have to really be adaptive. And for that, you need to have different structure of the team and to be support and to have a great support. This is about the programmer department. And when I will move to how the DMS or providers support the market, is very important what kind of DMS provider it is, because there is not like clear answer. In case we discuss about international environment, or I would say even on global environment, there used to be headquarters or something like development hubs. Those hubs just develop the new functionality. They fully focus on the future, and they provide maintenance and support for existing DMS systems. Those people then cooperate with so-called rollout teams or the DMS implementator. This could be a subsidiary, this could be partner on the market, etc. And what I think is the most important is how those two entities communicate together. If their communication is effective and there are a regular workshop or virtual product sessions, then easily you may transfer this insight from the, I would say, kitchen to the market player, and such consultants on a local market, they can better explain what was the idea behind when someone invents such functionality. Because what I could see in different markets is that the people slightly misunderstand the functionality which is provided, and they think they should use it in different way. And this communication is crucial. Good DMS providers provide a training and enablement program, and they understand what steps are needed to reach some rating of the knowledge in DMS system. Support and knowledge and training center are available. And I just point out a couple of lines which from my experience, are the most important. Is the access to the expert. From those hubs. It means the person who designed the application has direct access with the partner or even with the customers, and he can explain the idea behind and also guide them to use it in a way that they can leverage on most from a DMS application. What we have excellent experience is because the DMS complex start to be more and more complex because we have too many applications inside. Then you need to somehow show it. And in case you won't show it in the documentation, you might easily end up with 1,000 plus pages. And frankly speaking, nobody will read them. So you have to really show it. And the best approach for it to have kind of showcase database. It means the database which you open and you can have a look just to demonstrate the functionality. Or you may have a look how I should set up certain functionality to get the best from it. And those showcase databases are actually provided by a DMS provider who are doing these setups. They are adjusting it all the time, just improving, because they got also the feedback. And this is a great tool. Most important are also piloting projects. So such people, for instance, as me, are joining such project, first of all, to get first-hand experience, to see like what is going on. You may design application, but you have to see how the user use your application to better understand like what was wrong or what went wrong and what we can improve. And such insights, in case you try to collect and build a new functionality, then you get completely new level of, I would say, future in a DMS, which reflect the current situation on the market and on dealership. And maintenance and regular updates are something like must to have. So it means you get regular packages in case there is bug or there is an issue, then this issue is fixed and you will get the update. So you don't need to care about those fixes. And the person who is doing those fixes, they have this full view. They see this full core functionality. They test it completely different way as, for instance, local players, or I would say local homemade DMS provider, because they have tools for it and they have methodology.
Juraj, I want to ask you. This was a very it was a very solid answer, but if we want to simplify it, especially considering that you just mentioned that you have experience of working with inside or with the dealership that had internal software programmers department, a quick answer: what presents a better overall value to the dealership? In-house system with in-house software department, or external DMS system with a solid, advanced features and support? What would you call? We're not trying to sell anything. We just want to get the understanding. So, your own opinion, what presents a better value overall for the dealership?
In my case, in case you ask me that I'm now, let's imagine, DMS owner, or sorry, dealer owner, and I want to have the best from the DMS, then first of all, I have to build internal team. Okay, that's clear. I have to have key users, the people who understand, who push the DMS provider to the limits to provide the best functionality. Those people have like very great experience from the market. It means they understand their workflows and processes in dealership. But they don't need to be developers. No, please don't touch, don't touch the application. For that is DMS provider. In case you touch, you may easily end up with ending loop, that you build something what in next version is obsolete, and then you have to build it again. So the best, I believe, is kind of hybrid mode, means to have a very important group of key users who understand. Sure, IT department, at least one person who can manage administration, permission, and all this stuff, who is in direct contact with DMS provider, and step by step, he or she learn the knowledge of the DMS and can share it between the people inside the dealership. So I think the best model is hybrid department, and surely I will not recommend to have a programmer department unless there is really something what makes the difference, but I'm not aware about it.
Okay, because it's very important, I want to sort of underscore it. I kind of felt the same way, but I heard something new. So this is a sort of a two-edged sword. One thing which is crucial is to have a team inside of the dealership that understands the sort of visionaries, technology visionaries, that understand the key business processes, workflows, and they guide the implementation towards which features to get, and they administer the system inside of the house, in-house. But overall, without a doubt, advanced external application from a solid provider presents a better value for the dealership overall.
For long term, and especially in case you want to expand for different markets and you want to add more and more in the future, and I believe everyone wants to grow. In such case, you need to have stable partners, and it means you have to have stable solution which is proactive, innovative, and there is a continual development. So I would really focus on such application.
Okay, this was a great answer. The next question is, it's sort of about DMS, but it may not be exactly about it. Sometimes the separation between DMS and CRM is sort of blurred. Some people don't even understand if there is a difference. And it's not uncommon for those two systems to be confused. Now, where do the customer database sit? Is it in CRM? Is it in DMS? On the other hand, close customer tracking and the marketing needs to be effective. And in Russia, especially because of the disparate systems, this question is more important than maybe in the United States or in Europe. So the question is, can a professional advanced DMS system already include sort of a CRM module for seamless data transfer and processing, or these are two completely separate systems that stand on their own?
Okay, so in case you ask me a question, then I will say yes, it is possible to have DMS system already included with the CRM module. mainly for, as you mentioned, the seamless data transfer, because the data which are in a DMS is used for both. But there are also bad. Bad means there are some limits which you may see and which you may face in case you go deeper and you want to expand with CRM, especially with all those new tools and digital revolution, let's say, like constant messaging, etc. Then you have to really focus, first of all, what kind of core functionality DMS provider. It means for the CRM part, because there must be sort of contact relationship management. It means you have to somehow manage your contacts, your data. You have to group them. In case you support the sales processes, you need to manage sales opportunities. You need sales cycles. You have to understand what is going on. Another topic is also to be open to get leads or prospect from different sources, sales, after sales lead management, campaign management, interaction management, communication, and reporting. All these, I believe, it's easy to add or be part of the DMS system. But at the moment, when you start to connect more application together, especially in case you have multiple databases, for instance. So let's imagine holding with 15 or 20 sites and each different database, then you start to get some point that you may already feel that there are some limits of such CRM system built in DMS system, because it's very hard to consolidate those data. There are some technology and approaches how you can do it, but already you may feel that this makes kind of difference. So in that moment, you may feel that, okay, now in such level of functionality, you have to look on external CRM system, which can consolidate those data and can provide the functionality which provide a centralized marketing activities across the country. And last but not least, I would like to mention something special, which, in case you look for DMS provider and with strong focus on sales processes, means also the CRM, you should focus on 3 topics, because everything with CRM is about the data. So in case your data are not right and there are duplication, then you may face the issues that you may have the best DMS system with best CRM model, but you can use it because your data are duplicate. There are some messy data, and for that, the good DMS system provide tools which can check duplication and can validate the data for the user point of view. It means the user shouldn't insert something what already exists, for instance. On the other hand, another important point is that you should not insert in many places the same information. For instance, contact person. You shouldn't add this contact person as a customer, as a contact person, etc. It should be somehow synced, and you should see that all those information are connected in one point, and you can have full picture of the full contact. And data consolidation is another important point. Sure, in case you use different databases, you have to somehow consolidate those data. What are the capability of the DMS providers to consolidate those data into one? This is the crucial another question. Once you have good answer for all those 3, then I believe you find your winner for the next DMS system.
So again, let me underscore, the DMS systems are, the advanced DMS systems are pretty flexible, and they include a lot of functionality that is often associated with CRM. However, considering the current digitalization trends especially if there are multiple brands, multiple locations, maybe some OEM requirements specific to the brand, the DMS may be used as a core. However, there might, to create a perfect combination of DMS and CRM, to have an external, to be able to have a flexibility of external communications with customers, be that SMS or emails or any other applications, there might be a need to have a third-party applications or third-party CRMs integrated around advanced DMS system.
Correct. So in case you reach the point that DMS, because DMS, the main focus is on dealer management system application. And CRM, frankly speaking, is not fully focused on DMS application. They want to provide a solid base. It means there must be something what you can use as it is. But in a moment when you want to cross the line and you want to start to consolidate data and you want to provide centralized campaigns with the newest tool, etc., you may face, and I don't want to generalize now, you may face that the DMS provider has his limits or their limits, and you cannot get this functionality part of that. So in that moment, you should look on external application, and DMS provider provide for it seamless data into integration. So that was the point what I tried to make with this data consolidation. So it means in case the DMS provider already provides such frameworks, APIs for such communication, this is good sign because they understand that not everything must be included, and they just open the gate for cooperation. So yes, as you said, there is no any kind of black and white, and from my point of view, again, DMS and CRM can cooperate in certain level, but not unlimited.
Okay, I see. Now, the next question is very important. We all know that probably, especially lately, more than half of the dealership profit comes from the service department. We also know that the service department is the main driver of the customer loyalty and to the brand and to the dealership. And many dealers even have the saying that the first car is sold out of the showroom, the second, third, and fourth car is sold out of the service department. So could you tell us a little bit about how the service workflow, service processes are addressed in a professional, advanced DMS system?
First, what I would like to point out is that first, to understand and to provide a solution, you should have really great look. So you have to understand the full workflow. You have to connect the dots and to see some points where you need to improve or where you have to touch the application. I'm just sharing one slide which I'm using in case we are adding or we are improving existing applications. So first of all, we discuss with the team where are those pitfalls, where we have to speed up, and which moment is important for from the user perspective, from the customer perspective, and also from us, from our perspective. And once you start to focus on such topics, then you may end up easily with decision that in case you would like to add one certain functionality. For instance, recently we invent like time clock. This is the machine or the application which measure the time spent on the order, for instance, very easy job. But at the moment when you invent such tools, you have to have completely, I would say, different setup. You have to not so think how to easily clock, but for instance, how to reduce the papers, for instance. What are the options? Because in case we build a new application, we don't want to use, for instance, paper because we want to speed up. We want to make it more efficient. And in such a moment, we think how we can connect. And for instance, in this case, we could connect it easily. For instance, when you connect clocking with scheduling, then easily you may end up with agenda view for technician or mechanic. He can easily just touch the next task without scanning of papers, etc. Those are those information where DMS provider think slightly different, or they have this bright view, and those are those important topics to take into account. Again, they think, or those professional DMS are workflow driven. They want to provide the workflow which you can easily adapt, switch, change. It means there are not so many setups options, because too many setups, again, fragile monolith structure, means you have to have the system in a workflow wise. The data consistency means you shouldn't insert data again many times in application, in scheduling system, in order, or in clocking, etc. So you have to have one set of data which is used across the whole applications. Modular add-ons, it means those systems are modular. It means you may turn them off or on, depends in case you need them. For instance, another example, tire season, it starts to be 2 times in a year, and you don't need to have such application running full year, because you have those special weeks where you have to speed up. And such modern DMS system provide this flexibility that you can turn them only in case you need them. And this makes also the difference with the pricing, for instance. And communication, always the communication between such tools is bi-directional. It means there is not just I have to send and then maintain and then I have to copy, paste, etc. This communication start to be bi-directional. And what level of communication, this is another question. But such communication is advanced. And as I said, those people who design such applications and try to invent something new which speed up the process have this view, end-to-end view. They just think sometimes out of box, or I hope more of the time out of box, just to think what else we could add to make the difference. So this is, I would say, about this advantage of using professional DMS systems in service department.
It's interesting that you said that. It was a great answer. However, one of the things that I heard, and you actually started with this, is just with the as the answer of how which setup, internal or external, is better. You started this with in the dealership. It has to be centered around the people who understand the workflows. So no matter how good the technology is, somebody still has to connect the technology to the business process. And once it's done, once it's connected to the specific business process at the dealership, fine-tuned to it, then it becomes the most effective service application. Then DMS works its best. Next question is actually important because more and more attention is paid within the dealerships to the business development centers, be that for sales or for service, for rejected customer work or unsold leads. So the business development centers are very important within the dealership. Are those specific needs somehow reflected in advanced DMS systems?
Yes, they are. They are, sure. I just prepare and summarize my point for that. First of all, this is not, I would say, something new that the business development center exists. We can observe such trends across different markets. And those business development centers try to find more opportunities, more upsells opportunities, because they have to push the business. Otherwise, with this electrification, and easily you may lose your income or the revenue. So they have to find the new markets for it. And what I found and what I see across the countries, and even for instance in LATAM or in Nordic area, there is very strong focus on after sales. And according to that, we are adding the functionality, or we are trying to improve the existing one. There are completely new set of add-ons, which maybe 5 or 10 years ago, nobody will ever imagine. Now we have them. First of all, there is so-called after-sales lead management. This is a place or gate where you can get the leads from external application, including OEMs. And you have to process those leads easily, intuitively, so the user doesn't need to do anything else, just he's doing his or her their job. And the system has to provide some tracking activities. And those reporting activities, once you have more tracking activities, you have full set of data, and you can start to analyze what's going on. Another important point is how to measure that you lost the business, especially not more only in service, in sales, especially in the service. So the DMS provider provides the functionality for it, like lost service. I mean, like opportunities in service area, why we are losing such orders. So what happened explicitly? They can improve. They can change either the workflow or the way how the dealer operate. Another important point is to listen to the customer and to measure and to track such events like case and complaint management. Such application already exists in DMS application as well. And what is good is that all those data are in one database, so you may easily interact, and you have the same set of data. In special market, especially what we can observe is this is more or less in Asia. Don't ask me why, but they built kind of membership program. And this is something, sometimes we look really on the trends, like they have membership program inside of the dealership. So it means we have to, as a DMS provider, provide the functionality for it to have kind of discount code, cashback, or rating, maintenance plan, and to track open jobs and proactive contact the customers. So this membership program is another, I would say, important part of the DMS functionality. And sure, to be in digital world, you have to have kind of customer portal. So the customer check their own documentation, history of orders, etc., and to also kind of edit own information, and also the price comparison portal. So even dealers already start to think how to get additional opportunities, and they join the so-called this price comparison portal, where the customer just look, I need the service maintenance for my car, and then he or she see what kind of options are available, and part of that start to be also the original dealers. It means those are those main areas where I see the professional DMS system are involved in.
So, from what I heard, that the business development centers, which focuses on after sales, support the sales working with new leads, has been addressed in DMS systems for a while now, and I assume it's improving and going forward as things progress. The next question is very important. Right now, especially with the pandemic, which has sped up, it increased the speed of the process of digitalization, online interaction with the customers. And this presents new challenges for the dealerships, the new employee roles, new sorts of interaction with the customer. So I would assume that this would need a new set of functions within the DMS systems to address specifically the digitalization trends. Are those things addressed in the advanced DMS systems, or if they are, how do DMS providers approach these new trends?
Yes, here I will just maybe start first of all a little bit about those trends, what we can observe. And again, in case you look on Nordic area, Norway, etc., you may see those trends very easily and clearly. This is very full focus on reducing the administration load. So administrative people are so-called unproductive, and there is a really big trend to reduce those administration workload. This came to the another point that there start to be new roles in dealerships, especially in case you look on LATAM, and again I will just mention Nordic area. There start to be trend that the service advisor and mechanics start to somehow be one person, like one-man show, who has access to the DMS application, can perform the repairs, and is the person who is doing all the stuff. And something like that we have to also reflect in our application. Another important topic is those paperless solutions. I mean, to print the paper, it means that you can easily end up with many papers and you cannot find the right one. So it means it has to be everything digital, and the integration capabilities, and top of that, the automation and messaging approvals. So I try to in next slide here, I'll just focus on those specific functionalities, which I believe are those which are very trendy. At least I can see it. Is again automation, paperless solution, and everything what is self. It means customer can self-control or self-pre-check, self-check-in, check-out. Electronic signature is something what must be, and online payment, no paper. Gate and parking pass, we can see mainly in Asia, where the customer is guide license plate recognition, will read the license plate and guide the customer directly to the parking lot, and he or she will left the key in the automated key management system. So there is no kind of direct contact, everything is automated. And nevertheless, it also hit the inventory management because there are less parts, frankly speaking. Electronic vehicles came beside all these benefits, have more issues actually for, or some challenges for dealers, because they have less parts. And there are new types of parts, like electronic parts, like software updates, etc. So how to manage such functionality DMS is also a huge topic for us. With digitalization, DMS provider must also adapt. Another important focus is mobile remote service, and using the data, you have to predict what is going to happen. And AI forecast and predictive maintenance is also part of the solution. In case you have data, you want to use them, and for that you need the right tools.
So I assume that it's actually interesting that you mentioned the artificial intelligence forecast predictive maintenance. So I assume that one of the advantages that major providers of DMS have is the big data that they can get from multiple brands, multiple dealerships, which allows them to implement machine learning and big data processing to sort of implement this predictive maintenance or forecasts. Otherwise, within the dealership, that's only limited to the customers and the brand and the workflows within these dealerships. When working with a major provider allows them to rely on the much bigger massives of data. So that's interesting. Now, let's say that the dealers in Russia or anywhere else, they want to switch from an older system or one provider to another DMS provider. Now, we all understand that the dealership, this is the, retraining employees can be a time-consuming and effort-consuming process. It can take significant amount of time, and it's an effort. It's an effort that has to be worth it. Now, how do major DMS providers help dealers with switching from one solution to entirely new solution? Let's say the dealer made a decision, yes, this will, give me better return on investment, it will give me better efficiency, but how long does it take? What does the major provider do to ease the process?
Okay, first of all, to answer this question precisely, we have to really understand if we are talking about the new customer who already used old, let's call it like old DMS system, and wants to upgrade or wants to go to the new solution, or we are talking about the existing customer who already has some certain version of the DMS system, and this customer want to upgrade to the newest version. So those are important details which makes difference. And another important topic is the size of such dealerships, like how many users, how many location, how many rooftops, or how big is actually the dealership, how many interfaces with OEMs are, how many makes, if there's ERP included or not. It means first, to answer this properly, you have to really understand the scale and the size of the customer. What is the implementation process by proven DMS provider is, first of all, they are not doing it first time. Okay, so they understand what is this task about, especially in case they did it for different OEMs. So this experience is reflected in a methodology. So they have proven methodology. They know how to match the data. They can validate if those data are good enough. They can proactively recommend the customer, this is not right decision because this and that. And using this piloting project, it means they maintain this methodology all the time. So they're updating it, they're improving. So they're continuously improvements, depends on the market again. And using this piloting project, they got this first-hand experience. And they build those rollout teams, which are more stronger, fully focused on implementation. And they, in best case, they have access to those experts from, I would say, kitchen, or from the development hub, who support them with key decision. So they get these insights of what will happen in the future, and they can best way offer the services towards the customer. Another important point, in case you want to start to roll out, because piloting project is okay, this is must to have, it's always the first one, and then always or usually start a rollout. And for that, you need to build, again, kind of sort of methodology, blueprint setups. It means you just go there, you run the processes which are needed for the implementation, the data transferring, setups of the DB, etc. And then you look with the customer on couple of details, you adjust them, and then you just turn on. And best practice, sure, as I mentioned, in case you are on the market active, then you get those first-hand experience. and you can leverage them that you share this knowledge also in a part of the DMS provider. So you do the trainings internally for the people. They get better understanding what is going on, and we build a better application. So it means those are the major topic where I see the difference between a professional DMS provider and DMS provider who unfortunately are not so professional and do the same mistakes again and again.
You're right. I think this was a great answer. I actually didn't even think of that. You said it in the very beginning. They're not doing it the first time. That's the key. They know the process. They understand the difficulties. They understand the resistance they may get from different employees. And for that, they have proven methodology of implementing, be that a upgrade or switch from one solution to entirely new solution. And that's the key to the success of this operation. That's a great approach that I didn't even think about. Now, another side of that, sort of the same thing, is, again, I want to talk about Russia. There is a perception that professional advanced DMS systems are very expensive. Whether that's right or wrong, it's a different story. But a lot of things, when dealers consider the costs, they don't consider all adjacent expenses like the programming department, the support of the servers, the downtime that they have, the inefficiency. For instance, I work with some large dealer groups that have it's called analytical department, and all they do is they pull the data from all disparate systems, they make Excel sheets out of it, and that's an expense. So based on your experience, could you sort of I understand that the cost cannot be specified because of the size, the options, but how efficient are the costs of the implementing professional advanced DMS solution?
Thank you. This was a really good question. And maybe in case you asked me this question like 2 years ago, then I will answer a completely different way. But today, everything is so changing and everything is uncertain that also DMS provider must adapt and must adjust. And this is the point where DMS providers start to be very transparent. It means they have to provide a transparent pricing. There shouldn't be some kind of hidden cost. The customer has to have full awareness of what is the part of the solution, what is not the part of the solution, how much does it cost. It shouldn't be any kind of something, with the small characters on the bottom of the contract. And they try to provide, I would say, end-to-end solution though. So they want to provide hosting included, so professional services included. And the modeling of the pricing is going through the subscription model. Everything is going to the subscription model. So it means there is this time when the dealer has to pay a huge amount of money as a one shot just to get access to the DMS system and then to pay the maintenance. Those times are gone. Everything is going to the subscription model pricing. It means you pay only for what you need. This is, a very important fact. So you have to, according to that, adjust the DMS system. It means you have to create this modularity to turn off specific application in case they are not used. And for that, you also have to understand which applications are actually used and how often. And this is another moment where DMS provider think how I can measure this. And they invent such functionality like telemetry to see the number of functionality used at the moment, how many clicks were used recently. And it's not only just to adjust the better pricing. I don't want to say that they are not doing this, but also to recommend the customer that which certain functionality they bought, but they are not used in a way how they thought. So it means this is another view. The DMS provider start to search for this win-win business that in case customer is happy, DMS provider is also happy. So everyone is happy. So it means they provide them the fair price for the excellent service. And part of that is also the support. So that is not something that I was in one market that there was this DMS provider just disappeared from one day to another, and now all those customers without support, you can imagine such a situation. So you have to have also some support contracts with such a DMS provider, and to have this stability and this continual development, etc. So another pricing factor could be if this DMS provider provide also the ERP, it means accounting. And also, if such DMS provider is built on platform, for instance, like SAP, Microsoft, or Oracle, so you have to also take into account such cost of that. To have the pricing, I mean, it start to be the trend is really the price is going down. So I just think what else could happen to us in general that we can earn money or to keep the business running. And in such case, we also look for additional services which we could provide. As I said, not everything must be expensive. We try to find out what else we could offer towards the customer that we can, for instance, get rid of such programmer department, for instance. And hosting is one of those topics, or cloud-based DMS systems are those where I believe is the future.
So the least that the dealer will be able to get out of the professional system is the full transparency. They'll be able to easier understand what are the entire set of expenses, for the services, for the support, for the entire platform. It will be easier for them to budget for those expenses. And again, what I wanted to notice is that only pay for what you need. So that this is the third time we are reverting to the fact that the dealership, the key to the efficiency is to have those IT business visionaries that understand what they need. If the dealership doesn't understand what they need, they got the whole bunch of options that they don't use. And I know the dealerships that have that issue. So it again goes back to that, to use the technology only supports the business process. If the business process is not established effectively, then no technology can improve it. And Juraj, I have a last question, and that's probably one of the most important and one of the most interesting questions. I'm sure that our viewers would be very interested to hear, if possible, a business case when the dealer or dealer group had an older DMS system, replaced it with a more advanced solution from a major provider, and once they did that, if they got any tangible advantages or benefits.
Yes, I was just thinking what kind of experience I could share, because I work also as a consultant, and later I work also on the customer side, and now I'm a part of the DMS provider, so I could have this, I would say, unique view on all parties involved. And because right now I'm more, I would say, on this advised position, means that I'm joining the projects only for temporarily and in case there's some work force, etc. But from the past, I could recall explicitly, because I was part of the project, one customer. Actually, it was a group of dealers. It was probably more than 350 users. I cannot right now recall the numbers, but we are talking about 350 users. It was holding. It was multi-makes locations. It means 14 of them. And they used all DMS system, which used the centralized database, centralized inventory management. It means everything went through the centralized inventory and the distribution, etc. And there was also a level of integration with OEMs. And there was also ERP included. So, and there was also strong focus on sales processes. So this was just the situation there. The disadvantage of what was the moment for them was that they could not grow. They could not add new business opportunities, new functionalities, because they were limited already with the scale of the provider. So there was no options to add something else. There was an issue with stabilization. It means the system started to be slow. There was too many maintenance, and this caused a lot of tension, especially in the users. They cannot perform, they cannot print the invoice, etc. And there was the moment where this group of dealers start to look for professional DMS systems. And there was also for us, in general, as an opportunity, business opportunity. And once we start the implementation process, we learn about this dealer more and more, and we could provide better services. And once this implementation started, there was a piloting project. First of all, we could not, because 14 dealership in one shot, we could not, focus. In case you have to focus on 14, you have no focus. It means we start with a piloting project. And using this piloting project, we improve this methodology, the way how to implement. We learn we learn everything about the customer, how this connection works, where are those pitfalls. And once we did it, we just roll out it. In 6 months, we could manage, upgrade all remaining companies. And it was, I would say, excellent teamwork. And then suddenly we could start to observe what is going on, especially once everything was in place. We could see that this first tension from the user, if I can work with this system or not, disappeared. And then start to think, it works. Yeah, I can work. And, there was this first impulse for us. Yes, you can work. But you have also some couple of more options on top. So these end up completely to new business opportunities. Just they rid of all those papers like administration in Excel. Everything moved to the DMS application. Thanks to this, the data quality improved as well. So they could better understand what is going on. So this data flow consolidation showed them completely like, oh my God, what is going on here? We have to do something with sales department specifically for this brand because we are losing too many opportunities. And such problem they didn't have before because they didn't know that something like that is happening. So those professional DMS system provides such new insight, new workflows, etc. Another good experience was this specific dealer has like a huge amount of cars on the park lots. It was like 500. Okay, so and there was a specific department to manage all this park, and they didn't have tool for it, how to manage such number of cars. And part of the DMS solution, we provide them the solution, and it ended up that from the 6 people, I think it was like 6 people, end up only 2 people who could manage easily everything like before, even better because they got also information from the system, better information and better data. And those people were actually not fired; they just moved to another roles. It means because this new business opportunity offered the new opportunities also for the people inside the dealership, and they start to focus on a topic which they were not aware. Less external tools, less external applications, less Excel sheet papers, etc. And what I could recall as the most advantage was this reporting, the management decision, and that you can better control the processes and data inside the DMS system was the crucial, and this enabled the dealer group to grow to the another level. So I think those will be this real business case as was a part of that project at the time.
It's a great business case. Let me summarize it. The dealer group of a medium size, 14 locations, multiple brands. By implementing the new advanced DMS solutions within a reasonably short amount of time, 6 months, they sort of unplugged the bottleneck of their business growth. They all of a sudden realized new sales opportunities, allowed them to see the new sales opportunities. They improved the stock management. They decreased reliance on third-party tools, improved overall management and control. And, as I said before, that altogether allowed them to have new growth opportunities, growth. So the DMS was crucial for this dealership for the roadmap to go forward. It's great.
Yes.
It proves the case.
I think if I just may add one last topic is there was this effect, this aha effect, that they got like that now I see. So that was, I think, this for us as a consultants at the time, we could feel it, like the customer say, and now, this makes difference. And we could feel it. So that was really great experience at the time.
So the new DMS system sort of, improved the visual, sort of improved the access to the data, allowed them to see the new opportunities which were hidden among all those cluttered, systems and reports and all other things. You're right. First of all, I wanted to thank you very much for this information and your presentation. This was very interesting for me too, and I'm sure it will be very interesting for our audience. I want to thank you on behalf of the Association of Russian Automobile Dealers, on behalf of Russian automobile community, and behalf of myself. Thank you very much for your time and effort.
Thank you again for invitation and looking forward for another one.